Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Andrew Davis, and yes, I am scandalous like an Ashley. And I do want to remind everybody that I do not have any sponsors for the whole month of August because nobody wants to sponsor my show. So we are sponsor free officially. But if you'd like to sponsor the show, you are more than welcome to hit me up. You can find me, shoot me a message on X or anywhere else, Instagram, all that fun stuff is down below. But enough about that because I have with me Steve Streetman from Stupid Little Monkey, also known as the Flawlessness Universe. So it's a pretty cool company, and there's a lot to talk about. But obviously, how are you?
What's up there, Walt Disney? We definitely have the something going on with the internet. I feel like you got it all out, and then it froze. Are you still with me over there?
I don't know why I'm frozen. This is not my day. So something's wrong with my internet today, and I don't know what's up with my internet. This is not good. I don't know what's up with my internet. This is so odd.
Yeah, all I got was this is not good, and now it's odd. But we're live, so anything can happen with your live. That's the risk you take with the live feed. So
yeah,
that's what.
It's not my day. This is not my day.
It's not flowing well. It's not flowing well. I see that.
Am I still frozen? Like I don't know what's going on here. This is kind of crazy.
Oh, and then we lost you completely. Well, it looks like we're live, but it's just me. Maybe we're live with two people now. I don't know. I'm just here stroking my beard. I think people are just getting a close-up of that. I don't even know, because I think we were still live during that period. I'm like, stroking my beard. I think people are just getting a close-up of that. I don't even know.
I don't know. This is kind of crazy. Can you see me or no?
So I see you, but you only move about every 5 seconds. And I think I'm getting a late feed for your sound.
Let me just.
So what's up, everybody? I have taken over the feed. It looks like I got the full frame here. You're getting all of me. I'm Steve Streetman, the creator of the Flawless Universe, taking over this live feed right now to tell you about this. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. We've currently done 5 issues so far, and we're over on Kickstarter at the moment. Not with one of our comic books, but our annual art book showing off some of the art from the previous year. It's there for another 24 hours. That's it. And then it's gone. And then we're doing the trade paperback for all these stories next month. So make sure to check that out. So, and now that's my commercial ending, and back to Andrew.
So finally. So obviously I asked how you were. Clearly, I'm not having a good day with my internet. Clearly. But that's that.
It's okay. I'll just I'll run the whole thing. Just stop back in towards the end. I'll let you know how it went. Because I think we've been live the whole time. Where's my hand? I can't even point it the right direction. I think it was live even when you were gone. So I just talked to the audience while you were away. So
that's okay. That's okay. This is my life. It's all right, right? So
yeah.
But I do want to talk about it. So obviously, I mean, you did kind of go through a little bit of what Stupid Little Monkey is and the Flawless Universe is, but obviously there's a lot going on with that right now.
Yeah, so I talked about this with you. As a creator, I've wanted to get into the comic book space for a long time. Was previously in TV, and from there transitioned, into comic books just because my love for comic books. And so I wanted to take the stories that I was writing for TV and transition them into it. And so so the cool thing about coming on the show today is that we actually launched our first comic book exactly a year ago. So
let's talk about that. I want to talk about this because it's interesting year one, right, of anything. And whether, because obviously you have an interesting history, and we spoke about that previously. Obviously, you were a wrestler, you've done other stuff with television, but anybody who does anything in year one, whether you're running a business, you're in year one of your job, it's always interesting because there's a learning curve, a lot changes, direction is developed. And so what has that been like? Because I think that's what's interesting about where you're at, is that you are still a baby company and you're coming off of your rookie year, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the wrestling industry, that's for sure, except less painful. So, because during that time I did spend time, I was in the ring as well, but just the flow of stories. And I say the flow of stories within comic books are very similar to the way that wrestling is told as a story as well. At progressions where there's small moments and then eventually you have a big moment, such as WrestleMania. And we did similar things within, whenever we were working on our shows as well, with me being there at the time. And every story kind of has its flow on where it's coming to an end. That's what was happening inside the books. But I kind of feel like the same thing was going on within the comic book industry as a whole. It's its own story being told right now. As COVID locked us out of conventions, new markets came to be with comic books after that. We've gotten a chance to see new publishers come into frame, old publishers reinvent themselves, and just so many heroes and villains in the business and in the books all happening at once. And it's been a fun show to watch and to be a part of.
Let's dive a little bit into this, though, because obviously my business has evolved in the last 18 months, that things that transitioning in and out, getting out of debt in a business and having zero debt in your business is a whole different ballgame. And so a lot of evolutions have happened in my world in the last 18 months. And I know, I've been around for 10 years doing this, so it's not that I'm in my rookie year, but obviously I've gone through an evolution. And so what has this been like, though? Because being a fan and then going to becoming a creator and then running what you guys run and doing a lot of covers. And I think in a 6-week period of time, you do anywhere from 20 to 30 covers in a lot of ways. Most 6-week cycles, maybe every 2 months. I don't know the exact number. And if it's more, feel free to correct me. But what is even that like? Because I think that's what makes this interesting. Is I'm sure you've gone through a lot of experimentation and saying, okay, cool, this was more successful than this in your business. And you're like, okay, people gravitated towards this, and I didn't think they were going to gravitate towards that. So because that's a whole different ballgame that nobody in comics, in my opinion, talks about.
So it's crazy because everybody's been really receptive to us over the past year. And I think part of it from coming from being a fan into the space as a creator, we just enjoy people, and so that's been one of the great things for us, is that we love chatting with the artists, the other publishers, we love chatting with the collectors, and we're fans. We're chatting with other fans, whether it's at conventions or on live shows or wherever it may be. And so just the atmosphere has been really cool from that standpoint. And the other thing is, so we came into the space and we knew that covers were a big piece of what's important for growing the business. And so we did that. It may seem like 20 to 30 covers. It's not that many covers per month. But it's about 12 we were doing about 12 covers per month. 3 to 4 releases per week, and which is still a lot. It was a lot of covers. But we just had such phenomenal art, and we were working with so many amazing artists, and we actually got way ahead on that because we started doing comic book commissions way before we even planned on launching the book itself or knew how we were going to launch the book. We just knew that that was the ultimate goal. So we wound up with so many covers all at once, and we wanted to, we didn't like hanging on to them. So we did get a lot of them out pretty early in the, within the first year. This has been year one. Huge success. We've sold over 20,000 copies. We broke that last month. That's 1 year. We broke $1 million last month as well for the business as a whole. So two big things basically came simultaneously within a few weeks of each other. And it was huge to see because people either like the covers, which I think is most people, or they like the story on the inside, or like collecting because we keep track of keys. But the collectors have been there and they've supported the Flawless Universe, and it's been freaking awesome.
But let's actually talk about that too, because in my opinion, there's three businesses going on in comics right now, and I'm curious your opinion on it. Is that there's readers, and there's people who only want to read books and they love reading comics and they want to read everything they could possibly read, and they love everything in comics. Then you have people who are, I guess, your local comic shop or old school collectors, and then you have this new generation, which is an art collecting component. And it's interesting because I think all three things don't compete with each other. They obviously can overlap with each other. But what is that like, even figuring out the sweet spot? Because you do want a readership, I would imagine, but you also understand that if you could sell a cover for $100 and it's not going to cost you $100 to produce it, like, you got to keep the business afloat. And it's such a complicated balancing act. And so what is this like for you? Because I think this is a real debate that's going on right now in Kickstarter, and even growing people's IPs versus growing a business. And it's complicated.
Yeah. So, there's some easy solutions to make profit. And then there are ways that you can build a brand. So,
or
I don't think those
balancing it, right? Because I think that if you have this super collectible stuff, but then you also want to, because this is how I run my business. I have super expensive cards, but then I have a $7 card because I want to hit both ends of the spectrum on a customer level. Because not everybody wants to spend $200 on an Angel Reese card. Not everybody can afford that, but I think everybody, if they really want to, you can afford a $7 card with free shipping. And so I actually make, theoretically, actually, my profit margins are sort of the same collectively on both ends of the spectrum, but I have to sell a lot more of the $7 card versus the higher end card. But not the point. But I want both sides, because I do want customers who are at a $7 level, and I want customers who are at a $200 level. And it's
when it comes to TCG games, would you say that Pokemon runs the show?
Right now, I would say that runs the show as far as trading card games, and then I would say Magic the Gathering is probably a close second.
The reason I bring up Pokemon is because it's an easy way to enter into Pokemon. You can get cards for a pack for $3. You can buy an individual card for $1. You can, in some cases, you can get a whole lot of them for $5. So there's an easy entrance. But then there's also Pokemon cards that are $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000. So I've got a first printing of Umbreon from the 90s that's sitting somewhere safe that I know it's just got massive value to it. But that's the cool thing about Pokemon. And so I think about Pokemon all the time because they have their items that are low entry for anybody to just get into it, and then they can eventually come into the higher end stuff because they become more serious about it. But they have a way in, and I feel like finding those people are a very cool thing to do, and we'd like to execute on that more. We have more of a high-end, high-value comic book, and so most of the people that are coming into it are collecting are the high, they want the high-end stuff. They want the $120 metal. They'll pay $120 to the metal every time a new cover comes out. and they do, and they should, because the quality of our metals is way better than anything I've seen out there. And we do our metals in house, and we got this idea because we had another publisher who does theirs in house, but they were able to oversee the production, and so they were able to really make sure that by the time it went out to the collector, it was the best product possible. So a good friend of ours. But yeah, so that's one of the things that I see is, so you're able to pull people in that way. But then you talk about readers, key collectors, but the new age stuff that's coming out right now. If all of them are fighting over the same book, the book goes up in value. So
yeah,
everybody wants to.
I get that, and I don't disagree. I mean, the reason why I ask this is that I hear this debate in Kickstarter land. And I know that you're half in Kickstarter land, you're half out of Kickstarter land, which we're going to talk about because you've done some interesting stuff with that, which I think is interesting. But, I hear this debate because I hear the issue about readership. But then I look at people's campaigns and I'm like, you're hitting a collector's market, but you want readers. Like, it's such a contradiction. And I'm like, but don't you, people say, I want people to read my book, but I'm like, you're also selling high-end collectibles on your campaign, and then you're going to bring it to a comic book store later on, which is where you want your readership, but then you're selling it like a bill of goods that it's not. And like, this is why I bring it up, because I think it's very complicated, and it's one of the reasons why I'm becoming disenfranchised with Kickstarters, that I don't think it's an honest platform anymore. I think a lot of creators are not honest. I think a lot of creators are masking what their intention is. If you are a collectible comic book, you should just say that I'm a collectible comic book, and then later on, I'm going to make my book $5 digital so that anybody who wants it could read it digitally. But if you're selling me a $120 metal, I'm not reading the metal. Does that make any sense?
So you broke up on me a little bit right there, but I think what we're talking about is just like the wolf in sheep's clothing, which I definitely know that in Indian industry, that is going to exist, that you're going to have those individuals that are putting out something that's not being fully transparent. And that's why we always try to be.
Because I view your company, where you said it yourself, that you are a high-end collectible based company where you're selling a book for $30, $45, $60, $90. That's no longer selling me a book and going to go buy my DC Comics at the store for $5, right? In which that you buy Batman for $5.
Yeah, you're not buying the same product, but you're buying it under the same brand. So just like you would buy a Charizard, you would pay $120 for that. You can also buy the $1 energy card as well. And that's the difference. And so we are looking into ideas for readers to make it an easier entry besides just doing the digital copy. But as of right now, the digital copy is the way to go. Whenever it comes to the physical copies, they're all designed as collectors.
Because I mean, it's interesting, right? Because I mean, you're bringing up a really interesting point where I don't know how familiar you are with Hustler's new model and their magazine. Are you familiar with Hustler?
Sure.
So Hustler is an interesting company. So they print almost on printed demand, and then a few extra magazines. For them, an extra might be like a 200 print run beyond what people order within a given time period. And then they just sell that directly to consumer for people who want to collect a Hustler for whatever reason. So let's say that there's an interview in Hustler. So a little while ago, I bought a Hustler because Elias Chazudis had an interview in Hustler. And I thought it was pretty cool that one of the best comic pinup artists had an interview in Hustler magazine. And I was curious what that interview was going to look like. But I'm not going to go buy a Hustler for no good reason. So they've almost created a collectible magazine market because it's better for them to not be in Barnes & Noble, just print on demand what they need and what is ordered. And then those magazines are collectible. And then if you want to read Hustler digitally, you just buy a subscription to Hustler. And so that's kind of what I think is going on, is that it becomes a collectible item. And that's kind of where I think comics are going to some degree. And so I'm curious what you think, because I don't foresee.
I think the industry is always changing, and you may be able to share more light on it than me, as you've spent roughly a decade, I think, on the business side of the comic book industry. And TV's way different. It's on to the next episode every single week. So it's not so much of thinking, how do you get the paper printed? What's the best material? Who's the right art? You've already got your actors. You're just figuring out the storyline, and people will either watch and buy tickets or they won't. Versus, with this, it's like, how do you structure what it is you're presenting? Like, for instance, whenever I was doing wrestling, we'll go back to that one because it's just an easy one for people to understand. Okay, people knew it was wrestling. Okay, either they liked wrestling or they didn't like wrestling. But with comic books, it's like, what is this? Is this a collectible? Is this an art book? Is this a comic book? It could be so many different things. Is it a comic book but only 5 pages, or is it 20 pages with a full story? Is it 48 pages that's really in depth? Like, what is it, and what really gives it the value? What gives it the value at the end of the day?
That's a good question. That really is a good question. I'll answer because I think it's an interesting discussion point. Is that
you know the answer better than anybody? You know what the answer to that is. I said it really asking the question, but now after I thought about it, I know what the answer is, and I know you know it better than anyone.
Yeah, no. There's multiple answers to it. There's like 4 or 5 reasons that determine a value for a comic. Beyond condition, because condition is going to trump everything, in a lot of ways. So if you have a pristine book that's a 10/10, obviously that's going to have some value to it beyond anything else. But it's obviously what happened in the book, what characters are in the book, who is the cover artist, is there controversy surrounding it? If Al Rio is a great artist that's done a lot of work for Zenescope, and if he only did 20 covers for Zenescope for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden, obviously, for those who don't know, Al Rio, killed himself. And we don't have to go too deep into it. It's a very sad story. But if a guy is the greatest artist in the world and he only did 10 covers for a comic company, there's going to be value in those books. And then it's just a variety of other stuff. And then it's also how many were printed, and it's also how desirable is the book. Those are the 5 or 6 things that determine a book's value. Until that happens.
So you said a lot of things that lead to the one thing. Like, all of your things are correct, but they lead to one thing, and they're probably closest there on that final piece that you said there. The number one thing that determines what the value of anything that you sell. If you go to, so I used to, before I tell you, I used to have this guy, and he would always say, I said to him one day, I was like, hey, I went to Kelley Blue Book, and I looked up what my car was worth. Kelley Blue Book, right? Where you can go and check out your car, and it'll give you an estimate of what it's worth. And he said, and I was like, oh yeah, my car's worth like $10,000 right now. He's like, oh cool, when do you get the check? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just looked it up. They said, they said that's what it's worth. And he said, well, nobody bought it from you. He's like, so you don't know if that's what it's worth. And I was like, and that was like, this is probably 15 years ago. That would always just spin in my head. It's like the internet, early internet. And I'm like, okay. So I got thinking about that. And it all comes down to, at the end of the day, the value of whatever you sell is based off of what somebody's willing to pay for it.
To a degree. To a degree.
Debate me then, because
the value of you on a stock level.
Nobody will pay for it. Then it's not worth $1,000.
I will debate you on a stock level or on a business level where
manipulate on a daily basis.
The reason why this is also a business is value, and what somebody will pay for it and what it can produce also is dependent on it, if it can spin off a dividend or if you could borrow against assets.
But is anybody ever buying a stock without the purpose to resell the stock?
I buy plenty of stocks. I have no intention to. I don't buy stocks to resell them. I buy stocks for their dividends.
Okay, so you're getting some type of value off of that. So you're willing to buy it for that. So
Because I'll make my money over a 30-year period, and I'll make more than what the stock is worth.
Okay, so you believe that whenever you purchase it, it's at the value that it's worth.
I actually think
so you're determining that value. No one else is. You're determining it by being, as the buyer, you're the buyer buying the stock.
Yeah.
You're determining this is a good value.
I believe it is fair market value or below value is when you buy things. And that's what I think is going on. Because we were talking about the eBay thing before. And this circles back to that too, is that there's a reason why I'm getting lowball offers. It's because somebody has determined a value, but they're trying to buy it either at what they call a fair market value, not a
determine what
value.
That's a different thing. They determine what they want to spend. Okay.
Or they know that it's $50.
Where the value is what you're selling it for, but they also have they want their they want to be here whenever it's here, because this is a perfect study case too, because think about this: if you put something up for $10, somebody's going to ask to get it for $6. If you put something up for $50, somebody's going to ask for $40. If you put it up for $1,000, somebody's going to ask to get it for $800. It doesn't matter what price you put it up for. If it's $1 million or $5, people are always going to want it for less than whatever it's up there for. Okay, that's just the nature of what we've become. But that doesn't mean
right, because my favorite tactic on eBay though is that I look at what somebody else is putting something up for, and then I price mine like 50 cents lower. And then the person, and this happens all the time with cards, they buy it because they're like, man, this person is 50 cents less than this guy over here. He has free shipping. This guy wants to charge me $1. I'm getting it for $1.50 less. And they don't even haggle and they don't even fuck around because they're like, if I don't buy this card, it happened the other day, I'm going to lose out on it. And some guy was trying to haggle with me. I waited 30 minutes. All the cards were gone. And nobody was haggling with me on these Paul Scheme cards because they're like, this is the best deal out there because he's $1.50 cheaper than everybody else. And if I don't buy it now, but if I was the same price, they would want to haggle with me. It's so interesting.
Right. And so that's always going to be the case. To where people are going to want to try to get it for less. But at the end of the day, the value is always going to be determined based off of what somebody pays for it. So if nobody's willing to pay $500 for it, $1,000 for it, then it's not worth that much. If nobody's willing to pay $5 for it, if you can't sell your product, you put something up for $5 and you can't sell it, well, it's not worth that. It does depend on the audience that you put it in front of, but at the end of the day, that's up to you to get out in front of the right buyers, to get out in front of the right audience and the right collectors. So with whatever it is you're selling, that has nothing to do with comic books. That's the world.
Oh, no, I don't disagree. I also think it's sometimes timing. I'll give an example. The time to sell a Barbie book was during the Barbie movie. I mean, if you didn't sell your Barbie books during the Barbie movie, you were kind of a dumbass for that. The time not to sell your Barbie books is like 6 years later and be like, oh man, these are expensive books here. There is times to sell books and times not to. So, but
right. Just like you can create your own value, you can create your own luck. You can do both of those things. And that's some of the things that you have to look at. It's like, okay, how many people, so come back and tell me this number 3 weeks from now, how many people are going to put out a Borderland cosplay cover in the next 30 days?
It's going to be
a lot. Because it's the new movie coming out and it's going to be the time to do it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it completely. The question is that are they going to be able to deliver that book when that movie comes out so that it actually is beneficial? Because that's the biggest problem with comics right now, is that if you put out a Borderland cosplay cover and then you miss the movie and I don't have the book, you kind of screwed your customer a little bit.
You're saying if somebody's trying to resell it?
On a resale level, this is why I'm very hesitant with cosplay covers now, because I've been burned in this way.
I think that you can tell me what you think on this. I think the direction going forward is going to be the original characters that are in the comic books.
What are you saying?
Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no.
I think we had a little bit of a delay.
I didn't know if you were done. I thought I interrupted you, so that I was letting you finish. Unless I'm frozen. Am I frozen again?
I think I want to hear your feedback though. I want to hear your feedback on it because I mean we've been doing market analysis to everything that's going on with the comic book industry, and original characters are going to be a year from now. That's what people are going to be collecting more than the cosplays.
Yeah. See, I don't know. And here's why I say it the way I say it, right? So I think something like if you're doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cosplay cover, I think those things, and I think things like iconic like that are going to be around. I think if you do a Sailor Moon cosplay cover, because I think the iconic stuff is going to remain in cosplay. So for instance, if your character, I'm trying to think of something iconic. So Dragon Ball Z is iconic. I think, something like Demon Slayer or Naruto or like the top anime Spy Family is a good example of that. I think those are not going away, or my Dress Up Darling. I don't think those are going away. I think what you might get rid of is like the Power Rangers, maybe some Transformers, maybe some Star Trek stuff is going to dissipate because I think the main core is going to be intact. I agree that I think it's going to lessen because I think that there's been situations with lawsuits and cease and desists and challenge to parity and what's fair use and what is other things, and this whole AI debate on the issue of stealing. I think that's a big issue. What is technically stealing, what is a step too far. I think all of that is coming. And I do think that Marvel, DC, and these other promotions and these other companies are going to start looking at this. And it's going to take one person to do $1 million on one of these covers that Paramount Plus says, hey, we own Star Trek. So I think that I agree it's going to lessen. I don't think it's going to leave. So in a year.
It's never going to be gone completely. It's just it's a really cool thing. It's really cool, and we've had so much fun with the covers that we've done with cosplay, and we still have plenty of cosplay covers coming up in the future. But we do see that the original characters, and this has actually been something that surprised us, especially with some of the sales that we've had come in, is that how often we don't have to do a cosplay cover, and we still do really well with the cover. It's our girl. It's my creation. It's my idea, and it does extremely well. And that actually surprised us, and we're excited about that. And so maybe not everyone will have that kind of success, but I think our characters are unique and cute and fun that people want to pick up those covers. And that's that. And I'm still talking about the covers as the main priority of it, but as more people come into this space, the Flawless Universe, as readers and key collectors, because we're tracking the keys for everything. So for those people as well. So as if you're going back and you want to look at what was the first appearance of Homelander in The Boys, which issue is that? That's important now. Was it 5 years ago or 6 years ago before it came out on TV? No, but it was a good enough story that it found its way on the TV to where now that key is important. And I think we've been lucky enough that we've built something that's going to have that same justification 5 years from now, and it's going to be worth having your hands on covers that we're selling today that you won't be able to get your hands on 5 years from now.
So this is interesting. This is also partially why I've become disenfranchised. Because this is the problem. I mean, you're highlighting a problem where I don't know what's going to be the next big thing because there's so much fucking content. And so, obviously I try to buy comics and try to collect what I can collect, but I'm also getting to the point where I've read a bunch of shit. I've read a bunch of good stuff too. And I'm like, and I've read stuff that I'm like, I don't want to ever see this again. And I've also been like, I want to see more of this, but you're taking forever to get it to me. And then I don't know. And also I've seen a lot of stuff get optioned and go nowhere. I've seen stuff that came out of nowhere, and I'm like, how the hell did this get on TV, and how did I miss it? And so as a fan, I don't know anymore how to figure out what is good and what is bad, because I've seen everything, and there's just so much shit that I'm like,
well, even the bad stuff become valuable. But I'm not using that as my debate. I'm just saying that I've seen some things that come out and get huge TV budgets, and people start looking for the characters, and it was never good to begin with. But so you don't know. It is speculation with anything that you're picking up. You can find a basketball card. I know that you're into basketball cards and you like picking up your basketball cards because that basketball star, they're a star, and there's proof of it. They're in the WNBA, they're in the NBA, and they're important. Their name is being mentioned on the news constantly. And it's those characters that you're going to want to see. So look at the brands that are continuing to find ways to evolve, okay, whenever it comes to the comic books. And that's where you're going to find your Kobe. Okay, that's where you're going to find your characters. I mean, think about Spider-Man took a really long time to come up. Okay, Umbrella Academy turned into something big way quicker than Spider-Man did. Okay, because Umbrella Academy was written in the 90s, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the TV show came out less than 20 years later. Spider-Man was made, in the 60s, and didn't really see its TV show until the 2000s, okay? So it took a long time for it to become like that big name. I mean, it was in comic books, and comic books was more the thing. But we're going to see more and more of these comic book brands that are showing that they can put out something solid, because everybody's looking to take someone's idea, expand it. And that's what we're doing. We're giving a brand and a story that can be expanded on.
So let me ask this, because do you also feel, though, at this point, too, is that we have places like Hulu, Disney, Sony, Paramount, we have Peacock, NBC, and then we have a bunch of other smaller independents as well that they're starving for content. I mean, I think Netflix and Disney and NBC/Peacock is dying for content. And that doesn't mean that, and so they're willing to look, I think, at this point, at anything. I think 10 years ago, they weren't interested in looking at comic book projects. Now, that doesn't mean that if they option your book, you're going to get a green light. An option is an option. I mean, Scott Snyder has a bunch of options on a bunch of his comic work. If we see one Scott Snyder project in the next 20 years, that'll be amazing. If we see more than one, that'll be a miracle. But an option is an option. To get something made into television, I don't think I need to tell you, it's such a fucking bitch to do it. And it's so hard. Anything that gets made into a television series is amazing because it goes through hell. It goes through hell. There's no question about that. But to get an option for your project, that's easy.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's I think it's been good for me because I used to work for one of those big networks. This was after my time of leaving WWE, and I was able to understand what they're looking for, and so it was and how they like to write their things and how they like to put together their teams, and they're picking up scripts based off speculation the same way the collector is, and but they see something different. They're looking for something different, and I feel like that's something that I've been very lucky that I've been able to come into this space and have such warm reception with the books being able to sell. But I came into it knowing, okay, this is being written in a way that it can go to TV eventually. And it was actually written as a TV script and converted to a comic book script. So this isn't something that I'm thinking like on the back end. This is something that I thought of before I even put the pen to the paper. So this is the end game for these comics to be more than just something that's on a piece of paper, and that's where you want to look at like brands that are doing things that are special, that they are looking to make their thing bigger and different than everyone else's. That's the ones you want to keep an eye on, because if you look at a brand and it looks, it looks the same as everybody else, and you see one team does something, and then the next team does something just like it, and then the next week this team does this, and then another team's doing something like that. But then if you see somebody over here doing this, and then someone else is, going way the fuck over here, and nobody's even messing with them. Nobody's buying their shit or doing their shit. Maybe there's a week of that where you see that where like, okay, nobody's interested in this because all 10 other competitors are doing this. Okay, but then this dies down, and then they're like, oh shit, now what? They're trying to come up with the next thing to make money. Okay, they're trying to make quick money. They're not trying to build a brand. And at the end of the day, you got to have that big brand, and so it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, we're 1 year in. We have not done enough to be called a big brand. We still got a long way to go, but we're aiming in that direction to be something long term and not just something that makes a quick buck.
See, it's so interesting because again, I don't do this. I'm not a creative. Obviously, I think I have a brand with conversations in pop culture, pop anime comics, and what I do there as far as consistency on an interview basis. But on eBay, my objective is to find collectibles and cool stuff and find rare cards and also find, just the ability to pick up a drop. And then I make my money when the drop's over. And I have 25 of a card, but I'm trying to be consistent and I get cards out as fast as I can. And so, but I'm not, I guess my brand in my business is that I sell good, real cards. I want to make that crystal clear because I have somebody who said I sold fake cards and it hurt my feelings. I was very upset. And he started getting really nasty with me. And then I dropped like 20 Spice Girl lyrics on him. And I called him a basehead at the end of that, which I thought was funny. It made me feel better. But again, I don't think on a creative level this way. And so like I find it fascinating. I really do. Because I would fail as a comic book writer. I would fail in this sector. And I know I would. And that's why I'm not doing it. Because I just don't think like that.
I totally get it because I'm more of a writer than I am a salesman. I'm more of a writer than I am a cover creator, and I'm way more of a writer than I am a businessman. But I know that those components were all important, and so I've made sure to surround myself with a team that can help me with those things. I think the CEO can sometimes be the dumbest guy in the room, but he knows to surround himself with smart people. and I knew, I said, okay, I know how to write. I was like, what else do I need? And that's what I spent my journey doing, is figuring that out.
See. I think like a CFO, and I know how to spot trends, and I get a feel for where the market's going. That's why I say like I don't think cosplay covers are going.
CFO finance.
What did you say?
You said CFO, as in Chief Finance Officer.
Yeah, I think like one of those.
Okay, cool. Then you can teach me the way. Teach me the way on that one. We do it, but we do it on accident. We just, at least I have people that help me understand that portion. We've been able to be strong with it, but
what I've done in the last 18 months is I have done the impossible. I have legitimately done the anti-Dave Ramsey method. Which is amazing. I used more debt to get out of debt, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, do you know how much it cost me to take on this business? I didn't do. We went in the hole like the day that I broke even with, and I did this in the first year, which was exciting. I did this in the first year. I was able to hit zero, where I was no longer, my bank account wasn't in negative. My credit cards weren't racked up, basically. And my loan was paid off. That was such an exciting day. But I had to do debt to get to where I'm at.
So I incurred more debt, but I figured out merchandise that created a surplus that sufficed the debt. Then you paid the debt down, which then you put it on a different credit card, which then gives you another 30 days to figure out how to pay that debt down. and then that's how you operate, and then you use the surplus off of that to further pay down your debt. And then fast forward 18 months later with a bunch of debt, you now start creating a surplus. And so now, and then after that, so I'm going to be debt free in the next 30 days. So September 1st, my business will have zero debt on it, while I added probably another $500,000 worth of merch under an AUL.
So that sounds very savvy. I dig it.
No. I mean, I'll explain two things. I had an idea where I spotted the trend in March with the women's basketball, which helped a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I spotted that trend because the women's NCAA did better than the men's, and I said, this is the next biggest thing. So I spotted the trend in March when nobody was looking. And I said it so many times, and people gave me so much shit for it. I'm like, trust me, everybody, this is the next big thing. If I had $50 million, I'd buy a WNBA team. $50 million, hands down, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Because those things are going to be worth so much more money in the next 3-4 years. Easy. They're going to be worth $200 to $300 million a pop. Easy. No question about it. The writing's on the wall, and the writing was on the wall when Caitlin Clark became red hot fire Caitlin Clark. And when Angel Reese did this, we all knew it was over. But I spotted a trend. I got lucky, without a doubt, where I was in the right time, the right place, and I had some money to play with. And I was, and it was, whatever, I was in the right place to see the right trend, right?
So my question to you would be, were you watching WNBA, or were you seeing this in other places?
What started happening is that I was just watching college basketball because I was gambling on it. And then I was watching all these games, and I'm like, wait a second, something just happened here. And then I started doing some research. And I mean, I was gambling like $1 on each game. Like, I wasn't like considerably be like $10,000. Let's go, guys. I wasn't like that. It was the idea that I was like, cool. You know what? It's a Monday. I don't do anything on Monday. I have a 13-hour workday, and these NCAA games were on. And then I was listening to Pat McAfee, and he was like, they did better than the men in ratings. And then they were talking about basketball and women's basketball, and this is going to sound so messed up, and they were not trivializing it. They were not poo-pooing it. They were treating it, for the first time that I've ever saw it, not as a joke. They were treating the WNBA as an equal to the NBA. And college games and the women's NCAA tournament equal to the men. And I'm like, wait a second. There's a pivot here, because ESPN, on one of their top shows, with somebody who was very respectable.
Out of Pat McAfee's mouth, it's got to be good. That's where it was. And then I started doing it, and then so I was in the right place at the right time watching something. Something clicked in my head. I had some money to play with, and then on top of that, I then started moving around merch, and then I just doubled down on it, and then I got lucky, and then it just sort of worked out. And I'm also decent at executing a system. And it just so happens that I also spotted another trend that was actually better than the trend that everybody was following, that proved to be more lucrative. And so I recognized a secondary writing on the wall where there was a better card trade than the one everybody was going after. That turned out to be really, really lucrative on my end. So I took a gamble on that, and people, and I had accrued debt and shit for about 6 weeks before it hit. But when it hit, it was like a 20x. So it was. Now just travel back to your 5 years ago. Say, hey, you're going to make a lot of money off the WNBA, and see what the version of you says about that.
But again, that's. But I don't recommend people do what I do, where you have to be good at executing in that fashion, and you have to fucking understand what the fuck you're gonna do. What I have done and how I did it is not the way you should do it. It just so happens that I got mad lucky, but what's crazy is that this was planned in January. Not the WNBA, because what people forget is that, the reason partially why I'm also is that I'm using my paycheck to also help suffice and get rid of the complete debt, so that I'm at a zero balance, and that's pumped in, and then the business is consuming 80% of it, and then my paycheck covers the last 20. It just so happens that in August I get 3 paychecks, not 2, because at the beginning of January I looked at how many paychecks and my biweekly pay from my job. So I have a regular shoot job, which covered the 20, which also allowed me to have a little bit more risk factor in there and provided me a cushion safety net. So this would have been done with comics, or would have been done with something else. But this was planned in January.
Well, that's what I think part of what the whole idea of today is talking about is that you, at the end of the day, you create your own luck. You create your own value, and those things have to be, you just have to be paying attention. Now, whether it's with you, who's figuring out that Pat McAfee's word about the WNBA was the right thing to take into consideration, or connecting with the right artist like I am to put out things that are that the collectors love. I think that's what it is you create your own luck, you create your own value, and and that's how we progress forward, if we're progressing to a better level, because we can create bad luck for ourselves too, and bad luck can just come to us. Just, I think you mentioned this earlier, you said timing is very important. And so you might have a phenomenal idea, but the timing doesn't come right. I don't know if we were talking about Barbie whenever we were here on air or not, but with Barbie is, if you would have put out a Barbie comic book around the time, or Barbie cosplay around the time the Barbie movie came out, you probably would have came out really well from it.
They still do okay. Those covers, they do okay on a resale value, but they've cooled off. But they will get hot again when they do something again with Barbie.
Exactly.
It will get hot again, and it will go back up. But I made a lot of money on that.
That's why big IPs like that always, they're always good to invest in, because they come back around. So when you see those big cosplay names, it's like, okay, well, the Barbie hype might be over at the moment, but a year from now, when Barbie 2's announced, well, they're going to reignite, and more people are going to try to get their hands on that stuff again. So that's the speculative market. So we go for things like, we did Hatsumiku, man.
I know.
There was no, and we did it just because we liked the character. It wasn't by, there was no marketing like.
But Hatsumiku's always going on tour. Hatsumiku's always going on tour. Hatsumiku is not a Barbie sensational component. Hatsumiku is Hatsumiku. Like, I don't know how to explain Hatsumiku, where it's just there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, and I think that's what we aim for more often. We try to, we do mainstream characters, but we're like, who's just cool? Who do we like? And we've done that way more, and it's been just a lot of fun, because it's us, me and Ashley, just playing. It's just like me and her just playing, just like, oh, we really like this character, or she's so cute, and we say, this would be fun, and that's what we do. More of what we do is for ourselves, because whenever it comes to collecting covers, we collected for ourselves. We collected what we like, and we put it all over our house. Our house is designed in a lot of comic book covers. If you go around our house, it's pampered with it, and so we make what we like, and that's it. Like, that's literally, and we're just fortunate that other people like what we like. So, and we choose good artists to make it too. So.
Yeah. See, I'm just like, I'm just so whatever. It's. I mean, there's stuff that I would love to do in comics, but it's not for me. In which that I've come to the conclusion that I'm really so worried about money. It's gonna fuck the whole thing up. It'll be bad. But no, I collect what I want to collect, and I sell what I want sell too.
We spend a lot of money to produce our comic books, probably more than what most people do, but we take on a lot of pages on the inside, and we've got a phenomenal team that works on the inside as well. And then we have the artists that we have multiple different variants. So we, pay each one of those artists as well. And then we invest 7 days a week working on our comic books. So.
See, I don't work 7 days a week. I used to. I usually take Thursdays off. You have to, because what I've learned, and this is actually really interesting, right? Is when I started taking Thursdays off and I started not working on my business, I actually was refreshed for the next 6 days, and I wasn't going crazy. And I was getting so burned out that when I just poured myself a drink and I would sit and watch a boatload of anime on Thursday and I wouldn't think about my job, I'd come fresh off Friday after my job. I'd be like, cool, I could write an interview now calmly. And so I have to take 4 days where I don't work on my business because I'm going to go crazy. I don't look at
you mentioned that to me about a month ago. Whenever I think you said something along the lines of, hey, I want to buy this book for you, but it's Thursday and I don't know if I can check out properly. Can you make sure I get a copy tomorrow?
I wound up drinking. I wound up chilling out, watching Spice and Wolf. It was great. It was amazing. I'm like, this is fantastic because Thursdays are for drinking.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I need a day where I have to myself. And it sounds weird. It sounds corny. It doesn't sound very manly when I say it that way. But I need a personal day for me. And
you do, especially as a man. You definitely have to have you have so many thoughts going through your brain, so much happening in your life. I love our collectors and the people that we work with, and so sometimes it feels like to me that I'm also just it's just fun conversation. Whether it's me trying to figure out how to get them a book, or doing a live stream, or chatting with an artist over details. It's fun for me. So
I don't mind doing it on my Friday. I don't mind doing it on Friday. Just like somebody asked me a question on Thursday, and I just didn't answer until Friday. And nobody, my customer, didn't care. And even if somebody makes me if I'm not going to go negotiate a deal on my Thursday, and if I lose a deal because I got back to you on a Friday, well, so be it. It is what it is, because I'm not giving up my personal day all that often on my Thursday when I want to go pour myself a nice rum and Coke to chill out and not think about my business because I'm going to go crazy. But enough about that. My habits are unique to me. And everybody
but I think that's good because with all things, it should be. So I heard the quote from Jerry Seinfeld. He said, waste your life. Waste as much of your life as possible doing what you love. Okay? So, the way to think about that is we're going to waste our time, whether we're wasting it at work, wasting it sleeping, or wasting it doing something we really enjoy and something that's good for us and something that makes us laugh, something that makes us happy. Okay? You should waste as much of your time doing that in comparison to the other things. And so, that was really part of the reason I came to the comic book industry. I love this. And so each day, there are days, but out of the 7 days that I work, not all of them feel like I'm working. A lot of them don't feel like work at all because I enjoy what I do.
Well, every day feels like work for me that I'm at my shoot job. But I work 4 days from home, and I work for a good company that has a match 401k that
the tank turns on.
What'd you say?
I said 4 days you're at home, and then on one of those days you turn into Andrew the Tank, Andrew Mechatron.
No. Nobody wants to talk to me on a Monday. You do not want to talk to me on a Monday. I come home and I just say no, thank you, everybody. And everybody, I don't do anything on Mondays either. I could write an interview, but I don't go on a show. I won't interview somebody on a Monday. I am done when I get home because it's an 8-hour day. That's not the problem. It's a 2-hour commute both ways.
Yeah, that's tough. Definitely. You got to find your outlets after that. So, and sometimes, whenever you're not in the best state, that's not the best thing.
No,
So.
the outlet's called Monday Night Raw. Let's just say for the beginning year one of my job, this first 6 months, Monday Night Raw was not a good outlet. It was not a good outlet. It was bad. It was bad. I'm like, really? We're gonna go do Monday Night Raw here, guys? Like, but then in the fall, it's football. Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Raw has been some of the best wrestling in decades.
Now it is. Now it is. 3 years ago, it was horrendous.
Oh yeah, no, me as being, I used to write for the show. I gave up on watching it. Like I gave up. Whenever I had skin in the game because I wanted to see it do well. I wanted to see it turn into something special, and it just continued going the wrong direction. And so it was like, okay, I've had enough, And this was even before it switched to the indoor COVID thing, where there were no fans, because the fans are so important, in any industry. But the fans are super important whenever it comes to that, because you got to feel the crowds.
I'll put something out there about fans. I don't know. Did you see? So I'm watching a lot of women's basketball because I'm betting heavy on team. The women basketball team is actually better than the men's, which is crazy. The men are fantastic. The women are better than the men in the United States basketball, which is wild. But not the point. So it was awesome watching the women play Belgium today because the crowd was against Team USA. And it was deafening. Where Belgium scores a basket, the crowd's erupting. Because people forget that Belgium is 6 miles away, the border from Paris. It's
so
6 miles. That's not that far. 6 miles is not that far. Belgium is 6 miles, their border, away from Paris. That's home court advantage.
The team that I had to root for was 2.5 hours away. So whenever I was growing up, the Magic, the Dallas Magic, that's who I got to root for. But it was still 2.5 hours from where I lived. So I can imagine having the home field advantage there. So now you got me curious. I got to ask, who won?
Oh, of course, Team USA.
Okay, all right. The Hills over strong tonight. So.
Team USA walked in there knowing they were the bad guys. And they knew it. And they said, we're coming right in and we're going to steal a gold medal. And that's the plan. And you notice, I think they've won 55 Olympic Games in a row.
That was, that's awesome. It's fun to play the hill sometimes. It's fun to play the hill sometimes.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was a good game though. It was a good game. The first half was amazing. Was amazing. Where it was I think it was a 4-point deficit one way or the other. No. I actually think it was tied at the end of the half between Team USA and Belgium, and that was wild because they walked in there as a negative 3,200 position. Means if you bet $100 on them, you won $3. And at the end of that, it was a plus, it was a negative 500. So the odds went significantly down. It was crazy. They made a decent amount of money today.
I was gonna say you made out though. You made out pretty well for us all said and done.
I made about $15. But I'm happy with my little money. Because I then go buy a stock and then I collect my dividend and I'm smiling. And I'll slowly get rich. So I'm okay with this. I sleep fine at night. I have a business.
It's fun. It's fun to gamble as long as you. So for me, this is me though. It's fun to gamble as long as you don't have the expectation that that's gonna pay your bills this month. If it's rent money, don't do it. Because I used to play Texas Hold'em. I used to play with the guys from the World Series.
I'll put it this way. If Team USA lost, there's a bigger problem. Against Belgium, there's a bigger problem. It's kind of like if Team USA loses against Puerto Rico, and nothing against Puerto Rico. I like Puerto Rico, but if the Team USA, which is the NBA, loses against Puerto Rico, we got a bigger problem than me losing $10.
Yeah.
So if Team USA loses against France, I'm not as upset. But if they lose again, the volleyball team lost against China. And I was like, what the fuck? How did that happen? I thought we invented volleyball. Like, I thought this was our sport. Like, I thought if there's two sports in the Olympics, it's volleyball for the women and it's basketball for the men. And how do we lose with a setup like that?
Oh, man. That one can be a fun one to watch, but I don't know if we invented it. Is that ours? Is that ours to claim?
I think it should be. I think it's like our sport. I mean, maybe we didn't invent it, but I think we should be good at it. There's certain sports that we should win a gold medal in. Is all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm okay with losing a gold medal in rugby to Australia. I'm fine with that. Okay, but if we lose a gold medal in basketball, we got a problem. But again, also, if I have to suffer and not watch the WNBA and not be able to buy cards and sell them and gamble on the WNBA and make money for 5 weeks, we better win a fucking gold medal.
Yeah. So you're feeling pretty confident that it's coming, though.
I hope so. I mean, I've said this before. I
thought that at halftime.
I thought they were going to win at halftime still. I didn't cash out my money.
Like, oh, shit.
I put more money in at halftime. But that's not the point here. But if I have to suffer and if I have to go through 5 weeks and not getting my WNBA, we better win a fucking gold medal. That's all I'm going to say. If the men get a silver, it'll suck. But I'm okay with that. If the women get a silver, I'm done. I'm selling everything for $1 in one gigantic lot.
Is men's basketball bigger across the world now?
Yeah, it is. But it doesn't affect my gambling because the season's over. The WNBA season is going on right now, and it's on hiatus for 5 weeks because of the Olympics, which means I can't make money. So they are costing me money.
Man, the Olympics.
A gold medal. If we get a gold medal, it lessens the blow a little bit. If they get a silver, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? I just suffered for nothing.
You should have been back in the States playing your games.
That's what I said.
It sounds like they're on their way to gold. So,
I have faith. I have faith. As long as Brittany Griner doesn't bring any more marijuana to Russia, we should be fine.
Yeah, is she playing in this?
She is. But the French are okay with the weed. It's the Russians that don't like it.
I see.
Which in other news, we did just trade a terrorist and got that journalist out of Russia. So that's good.
Oh, there we go.
So progress.
Good. More good news. Good news. The women's basketball is doing good, and we were able to recover a journalist from Russia. All right. See, this is the good news people need. Not the best. I don't watch it. I'm not on social and don't watch the news. It seems very negative, and so usually, if something lands here on top of my house at some point, I will have no clue that it's coming, and that's okay. I'm better off that way. I'll be happy each day until it happens.
I don't watch the news. I know what's going to happen. I watch CNBC. I watch halftime at CNBC. I don't really watch any news regarding politics anymore. I don't really care. I really don't care. I care more about what the stock market's going to do. I care more about what my stocks do, but I don't even look at my stocks half the time because I know what I have and I know I bought quality. So what do I care? And I'm glad I avoided CrowdStrike. So that's all I care about. But I digress there. But I do want to talk about the Kickstarter stuff because you've done stuff that's
Yeah.
like Kickstarter. You've done stuff that's not like Kickstarter. You've done Kickstarters. And so what is this like? Because that's interesting because you did almost a Kickstarter on your website, and then you did a Kickstarter on Kickstarter. And then, what is this like to do just a bunch of different stuff? Because I'm seeing a lot more companies do that too now.
So you broke up a little bit there, but I think you're talking about just moving a lot of the brand to Kickstarter.
No. Well, what I was going at is that the Hatsumiku cover was almost like a Kickstarter just through your website to some degree, and it had a Kickstarter vibe.
Oh my god, it was so successful. If we wouldn't have had to revamp the website for it getting shut down, we would have continued to run them there. And I was blown away because it was our personal space.
So let me ask this because I want to clarify. Did you get shut down or did you just exceed your bandwidth?
We were no longer allowed to use the payment gateway. We had the opportunity to continue to use the website as it was, but we were no longer allowed to use the payment gateway. We had to move over to a different type of payment gateway, and that was because of the nudity that was on there. So,
which we'll talk about too, because I want your opinion on it, but we're going to talk about this first because I kind of like that thing about the Hatsumiku thing. I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. I didn't get it necessarily at first because it's
so much fun.
Confusing, right? Yeah.
The Kickstarter on the website. We hope to bring that back. It was so much fun because we made it more of a fun thing. We added in quests. We added in monkey points. We had so many different things going just to where you could earn things and win things and buy things. And it was all happening all at once. And it was different from just you backing a Kickstarter and then you get the bookmark whenever it hits 50,000 or whatever. It was fun. And I know I talked to so many people who were a part of it and they really enjoyed it. It was unfortunate that we weren't able to do any. We went back to Kickstarter after that. We were still planning on going back to Kickstarter. We love Kickstarter, but we wanted to do more like that on the website, and we hope to do it again at some point. But man, what a good time it was! It was fun for us. It was fun for the collectors, and it did extremely well. And that was one of the coolest things because they had to come to our website. It wasn't Kickstarter. It wasn't another platform. It was ours, and it was really cool.
So let's talk about that because obviously I'm right now really, really pushing YouTube, and I've had a really good outing with that. And I know YouTube is not my website, but it's my channel on YouTube. And every once in a while YouTube gives me a warning because I cross a line, but that's just the way it's going to be because I say a lot of things on this show, and sometimes YouTube blocks what I do, and sometimes they don't. But that's neither here nor there, and I get that, and I just take the L and I move on. Whether I agree or disagree with YouTube, it's not. It is what it is. But the point is that what I find and what I hear from people is that a bunch of people say, I'm driving all the traffic to Kickstarter. They don't drive any traffic, and that they don't really get me any new backer. But I do like being on Kickstarter. And then a bunch of people have left Kickstarter and said, I went to another place that my friend Luke Stone runs, which is Fund My Comic, because they look at data. And so what is that like? Because you were driving all that traffic to your website. And so when people were coming to you, you were controlling all that traffic. And then when you go back to Kickstarter, I mean, I'm not saying leave Kickstarter because Kickstarter obviously has its advantages. It's kind of sexy to say, hey, I'm on Kickstarter, right? But what is that like? Because that's a tricky component right now that I also hear a lot of people complaining and bitching about, is saying, giving 13% or 10% to Kickstarter, but they're not driving me traffic and I'm doing all the work.
Well, that was, that's the percentage is very similar across most platforms. So
it's no than eBay. eBay's 13%. eBay's 13%. Whatnot is 12, right?
Roughly, yeah. And then even on Shopify itself, it was. When you start calculating everything, close to 11%, and they take a monthly, and they charge you monthly too, just to be on there. Plus, you got your fees on there. So, and that's our website. Now we're no longer on Shopify. They're succumbed to the Stripe Kings, as many other people are. But we're also making some pivots to our brand as well, to where we won't have that happen again. But we've also moved to a new platform where we're able to do basically what we want, but we're also playing it safer as well. So we've kind of found a balance on what's right for that, to where we can continue to promote the brand, to where it can be seen to the masses, even if it's only collected by.
It's very tricky because obviously, I mean, you probably know that some guy ran this whole campaign and then Kickstarter basically said, we're shutting down your campaign and we're not going to process any payments because you have some nudity on it, and it became a complicated issue. And then there's other people who have had that. And I've said this publicly, and I said, I think somebody had to be the sacrificial lamb. I think somebody had to die. And somebody had to be, quote unquote, treated and put out to pasture and then taken out and be sacrificed for us all. And it just so happens that guy. And then it's shifted. What would you say?
I said it could have been. I know that my experience on Kickstarter has been really good. And, you know, I'm not promoting it in any way, but it's you know, if you're if you're a comic book person, you know, who's creating a comic book and you're thinking about getting into the industry and you want to put it on Kickstarter, don't. Leave that space for me. I like it. Let me have it all. Because I felt like it's been done really well for me, and it's brought new collectors to me that didn't get a chance to see me through my social media sites or my obviously they probably would never find me on my website unless maybe it was through Google SEO or seeing me on my live auctions, one of those three forms. But I got a lot of people that did come from Kickstarter, and they've seeked me out, and they've even said, "Hey, we saw you here." And then after things leave my possession, and then they go onto the secondary market, Mercari, eBay, and other places, people have found me in those places, and or found my books, and then they come and found me afterwards, and we say, "Oh, we love your work. We bought some. I bought some off of eBay a while back and wanted to get some." So going back to Kickstarter, it's brought quite a large base to me, I think. So I can't count them out, because one of the things that I think that I get there versus in other places I get followers and people who like to, look at my post and like to comment and, say nice things. We love that. But Kickstarter gives me collectors, people who want to pay to have what I create. So we've had huge success over there. I know I'd always love to have the numbers bigger. I compare it to some of the, a few of the brands out there that I have in mind that I'm looking to pass on Kickstarter. Their numbers are much higher than mine.
But did you also feel, though, that, Kickstarter is supposed to kickstart it, right? Where I think that Kickstarter is just the start of the journey. So whether you get, or it's a piece of the journey, right? So my premise of Kickstarter, and this is why I become disenfranchised, is I buy somebody's book, right, on Kickstarter, and then 6 months later, I see them selling that book for $10 less on eBay, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then this is my response, is that, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? And you gave me a bookmark, and I patronized and I supported your business and your dream and your journey, and then 6 months later, you're selling your excess on eBay for dirt cheap, and then you're selling it to me on a retail level for what you're selling it for on eBay? What the fuck? And
I think what you're saying should get shouted to on top of a mountain for everyone to hear, because I think that's total horseshit for your collectors, your backers, the early supporters, for them to get it for one price, and then everyone else getting it for $1, $10, or $14.
You're stating that. What about your retailers? What about your wholesalers? In which that there's a variety of people. So I buy on a wholesale level, and I'm like, dude, you're selling it at wholesale prices, and how can I compete? And you just sold me a bill of goods. And we entered a contract where I bought something from you for $200, a bunch of books, and you're selling those same books for $200. And what the fuck?
That's a clear sign that someone is shoveling shit. Okay? You see what that is? That's shit. You see what that's shinola. You know? It's two different things, and I totally disagree. I think if anything, you sell it for less at the beginning for your loyal people that are going to come find you and support you, and then if you want to sell it for more later, do that. But doing the reverse, I think, is insulting, and it's spitting in the face of the your early backers and your true believers. You got people who really believe in you enough to, doesn't matter what the price is, they're going to come and get it from you on your Kickstarter, or for us on our drop days when we do drops. But I'm not going to put something at a drop and then 6 months down the road have them up for $1 on a website in an auction, because that's unfair to the party. But publisher will be like, well, I've got copies left over. It doesn't matter, because that hurts that collector at the beginning. That collector doesn't want their $30 book to now be worth $1, because that's what you just done to the value. And we've held strong to our prices too. When many people come in the room that come to talk to us and they're like, "Hey, can you do it for this?" I'm like, for one, I don't know you. I was like, so there's no reason that I would give you a deal. If I'm going to give a deal to anybody, it's going to be backer number one. If they come, they say, "Hey, I want a second copy. Can I get it? Can I get it for less?" Or what? I'm like, yes, you can, because you've been there for me since the very beginning. Those are the people that deserve it. And so this is what the biggest problem is in most businesses, is they're always looking at business acquisition and not looking at business retention. Okay. So whenever it comes to your collectors, the people who believe in your brand and collect from you often, they're way more important than going to grab 10 more new buyers. Okay? They're way more.
I'm a repeat customer, right? So I'm selling a certain Caitlin Clark card for $780 right now. And I stick to my $780 price point. Guys bought about $1,200 worth of cards for me in the last 3 months. He offered me $740. It's 40 cents less than I want. What do you think I did? I know you cut out. Steve, listen for a sec. So this is and now I cut out. This is great. It'll come back in 1 sec. It's not great. Since it comes back, we'll get it. Since it comes back, of course it's not coming back. This is great.
It's okay. You look like you're in Minecraft. It looks like it's on purpose.
Okay, cool. I'm back, right?
You are.
So I was basically stating that I saw a Clayton Clark card. I sold it. I was asking $780. I have a buyer who has bought over $1,200 worth of cards for me. He made me an offer for $740. I sold prior cards to other people for $780. What do you think I did in that circumstance? He was buying 22 of them. Of course it does this. Fucking Christ. This is not being a team player with me.
The internet failed tonight.
So,
hopefully something is manageable.
Hey, it's whatever. It's whatever. I've given up today. But I'm going to try this question again. So basically, I sold it for $780. I bought like 50 of them, right? I sold a lot of them. Oh my fucking God.
How about now?
I'm back. I don't know why this thing is doing this. Oh. Fuck. We're back. It's clearly not cooperative.
Are we back?
Let's not jinx it. No. The point is that I basically, for those who aren't in the store, I have a customer report. This.
I don't think it's moving forward.
I don't think it's being good either. But the Wi-Fi settings. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know why this is being difficult. It just happened in my world. I don't know why this thing is being difficult here.
Well, it looks like it's just me again. We've lost Andrew. So now I've taken over the feed. Or you can't see anything, and I'm just talking to myself. Well, in the case that I am not alone, what's up, everybody? Welcome. And to follow up to what he was talking about as far as taking care of the customers, one thing that I point out that I actually didn't do correctly at the beginning that I've shifted with is with Kickstarter. Originally, I used to have the bundle prices at the beginning, and then when you went to the add-ons, you had to pay full price. We actually flipped that to where, once you get into the add-ons, you can actually get as good, if not better pricing on the add-ons to allow for people to get more. It used to be, oh, you could get this great deal on a bundle, but then when you got the add-ons to add-on stuff, it was back to regular price. And so we flipped that because it's like, okay, people have already spent on that reward and back that reward. So on the add-ons, we're going to make sure that they get some really good bundles over there and they get really good pricing over there. And that's what we've done. And we've got the Kickstarter that's live right now. And maybe this be available for me to clip later and put up somewhere. But the Kickstarter is live right now. It is Flawless Summer Pool Time, the year one pinup book. Okay, we'll do these once a year, and that is it. Beyond that, we'll be sticking with storylines on the inside of the books. But for this one, you'll be able to see some of the art over the past year. Some of the best pieces of art will be within the pages of this book. So it'll be really cool just for you to look back and see some of those cool cosplay covers, plus some of the cool covers of our original characters and first appearances of our original characters, things like that. And we will be getting into some of the saucy ones too, so you'll get to see both world. That's live for 24 hours and then it's gone. So make sure you get the Kickstarter for that. Andrew's back.
Yeah, I know. My internet's a disaster.
So it said that I was still live. So instead of sitting here just staring, I made sure to tell everybody about the Kickstarter and how it's live and how it's only got 24 hours left.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to look into that. Anyway.
I filled the airspace for you.
I
even played it into the conversation that we were having about how we were talking about like making sure to take care of the customer. And I actually changed up the way I do rewards and add-ons. So now you can get your, the rewards, you can back the reward, but whenever you go into the add-ons, you can still, you can get some bundles over there that are at a better price, and you can get your add-ons at either the same price or less. So then that way people are able to, if people who've already backed and want to get more, they can get it for less. We used to do it the other way around where you could get the good bundle, but then when you went to the add-ons, it was back to regular price, and we flipped that. And I think it's allowed for people to get more. I don't know if it's helped us any, but it's helped for people to get more.
No, because the point is that obviously when I have good customers, I want to retain them. And so because I understand that I want somebody to come back to me is where I was going with this. And I think you understand it too, is that it's better because I would rather make money, I guess, with a client and have a client return to me every single time that he's just cool. I know Andrew's going to have this item and I know he's going to have it at a good price and that he's going to sell it to me a little bit less, but I'm going to buy more. And then I want somebody to come back to me because that.
And remember that I know we're talking a lot about price, but price isn't the only thing that creates that customer experience. And just executing a good pathway for people to get their collectibles is really important. A timeline is really important. I know that people have stopped collecting certain comic books out there because they couldn't get their comic books fast enough. And I know quality is another one because with these all coming from these independent publishers, you never know what the quality is going to be until it gets there. Some of them are trying new print shops and finding out that those comic books aren't as good as
This is the issue that you know, obviously when I buy cards, I know Topps is a good company and Topps gets me things within about 21 days if it's not autographed. If it's autographed, it takes about 100 just because you got to get the autograph on the card. And anybody who buys an autograph is well aware of that. And I'm like, I know it says 40 days, but we all know it's not 40 days. But my customers know that because it's just the way it is. And
I'll worry about that because we're really big on making sure that the integrity of the of everything that we do is big. So you brought that up, and I wanted to bring. Yeah, I'm segueing to this. We actually had a Japanese company reach out to us recently, and they wanted to take our IP and turn it into a TCG. And we thought that was a great idea, but the reason we weren't able to move forward is because they wanted us to provide the print shop for it. And I've looked at print shops out there that do trading cards, and I have not found one that I would trust with it. So if we find one, then be on the lookout for the Flawless Universe TCG game in the future. But that's just an example. It's like, okay, yes, I could get these.
I could throw you a story.
Great.
I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to ask a question before. I don't know what names I can and can't say that's honest about something, but I'm honest about a position. So I don't know. Is it kosher for me to mention certain names with Kickstarter promoters?
You can go for it. We can.
So it's not a secret. So and Inked Marketing, which is a Kickstarter promotion company, reached out to me and they wanted to buy live reads on my show. And my issue with Inked is that I like Kevin. I don't mind having Kevin on my show, but my issue is that I've seen mixed experiences with Kevin's results, where Kevin's helped people, but it's also I've looked at people who have had a really bad experience, and to me, it's a coin flip. So I can't, in good faith, promote, hey, use Inked Marketing on this show, which targets a bunch of people in comics and interviews a bunch of people in comics, knowing that it's a coin toss, because that's an issue, and they talk about integrity. Now, I don't
know any of the names that you just mentioned, but I do understand the idea of integrity, and that's where I'm really big on. And I actually take a lot of losses on the back end for my calls because I do want to put out the best. And you would not believe. So I'll tell you a little secret about my business that. We have the amount of short boxes of comic books and medals that have gone into the bin, and I mean the trash can, not a sales bin, because I didn't think they were up to par, is just insane. And it's sad too, because it hurt to do it. But I only want the best.
So my point is that I'm making is that I would have made a lot of money. I would not have had to self-fund my show for 6 months. But I felt that, hey, I can't go and have you as a sponsor because it's a coin toss and you're a nice guy. I'm sure that you've helped a lot of people, but I've also heard people not having a good experience. And I can't promote that because that's going to hurt me. And what happens when somebody uses your service, and that's great. And yeah, sure, I made some money, But, that person then's going to say, I just spent $1,200 on services that fucked up my campaign and I didn't fund, or that I'm $1,200 in the hole. And then they're going to come back to me, and then a bunch of people might use your services, and 50% of them are going to do great and 50% of them are not. So there is something where, when I look at sponsorships, I have to vet who's a sponsor, and it's so complicated. And there's a reason why I don't have any sponsors right now, because somebody approached me and I didn't like them, and I just didn't feel comfortable. And so, in order to give the best, I guess, to and be ethical and be responsible, I can't take everybody as a sponsor. You got to actually kind of do that. It's the development of any product, I think.
Yeah. So with everything, the right answer is always hard to find. and at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to go with your gut, and whether it's the right or wrong answer, it's just at least you're sticking to yourself. You're being true to yourself, and that's what you have to do at the end of the day, and that's what'll make not your business successful, but it'll make your life successful. If you stay true to yourself, no matter what the bumpy road is along the way. Whether there's gray skies or sunny days, it doesn't matter.
I honestly believe is that if you run a business appropriately and responsibly, and you do good by your clients, and you do good and you're ethical, that you will be okay. In which that it will. There's no guarantee, but you're more likely to it's more likely to work out than if you're an asshole, because I've seen it, and I know plenty of assholes in comics who are struggling right now, and it's because they're assholes, and nobody wants to buy their books, nobody wants to be around them, nobody wants to help them, and that's what I've learned in life. If you're an asshole, it's going to get a point where nobody wants to help you, and guess what? The people who are going to stick around you, chances are they're kind of an asshole too. And you want to be around a bunch of assholes, because we get a bunch of assholes around.
Send out the energy you want to get back. That's the big one there. And that's I can tell you that's always the case. If whatever mood I'm in is usually the mood that I bring in, and I've seen that in just everything in life. Even going to the grocery store today, I literally had multiple strangers just walk up and start chatting with me, and I'm just but I was in just such a good mood, and I guess they could feel the energy, because people just kept approaching me, and I was like, okay, this is, I guess I can feel it. And I think everybody can feel when you're stressed, everyone can feel when you're happy, sad, no matter what face you're putting on. Whatever you really are on the inside, that's what people are going to
feel. Well, I'm sure people know exactly the last 18 months how I've been. There have been days where somebody just looked at me and they're just like, I'm not even going to ask, man.
There's those days. Exactly.
I'm always stressed, so it's all right. I'm always stressed. Every day, every Monday, this girl asks me, how's your weekend? And I'm like, I'm still alive. And that's the common response. Legitly, I say that every essay when I greet my coworkers. I'm like, I'm still alive. It's all right. I'm still alive. But
oh man, I used to be such an honest person with that. But I remember one day I was at this big event, and there was a guy sitting over here to the side of me. I didn't know he was sitting right there. And this lady comes by, and she says, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I said, "Oh man, my weekend was pretty crazy. I had my car break down, and I got a flat tire. And I had to change it there on the side of the road." And then the guy chimes in, who's sitting over here to the side of me. I didn't know he's right there. He said, "Hey, when somebody asks how you're doing, you're just supposed to say fine." And that's it. And I'm like, oh shit. It was just such a weird moment for me, because I'm always open to express how I really feel. And he's like, no.
One person who asked me, hey, I did something really funny to somebody. It was great. Somebody said, how's your weekend? I said, I just got out of jail. I just walked away, and it was great. It was great. I said, "Oh, I just got out of jail."
Just depending on who you said that to, they either won't ask more questions or they'll be like, "Okay, yeah, give me the deeds," you know. So it depends on who that goes to.
But I've done some funny things. There's been some fun ones. And then you say, "Yo, how's your weekend?" And then you tell them a crazy story, and like, "No, that didn't happen." Then you show them a picture of it actually happening. That's always a good one too. It's like, no way, bro. You take it out like your phone, and like, oh. So like, but usually, so I have like stock images on my phone that look real. So like, somebody says, "How was your weekend?" And you're like, "I got into a car crash," and like you have a really bad car crash on your phone because you saw it while you were driving. You take a picture of it. Oh, it's the best. It's the best to fuck with people. It's amazing. But I digress. But anyway, we spoke about a lot of stuff. I don't know if any of this is productive. Most things in life on my show are the most productive show out there in comics. I like to think. We accomplish everything.
As a creator, I can say being unproductive can be very productive.
I agree. But
let that soak in.
but obviously you already promoted a bunch of stuff while my internet was going down, which I'm going to be calling my cable company tomorrow. So I'm unhappy about this, but I digress. But I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself because a lot of stuff's going on. I don't think we covered half of what we needed to cover, technically. I know you got a lot of cool stuff out there, and there's a lot of fun stuff going on with what you're doing and all sorts of cool shit. So, how about it?
So 24 hours left on the campaign. It's our one time a year that we'll be doing the silly art book, okay? It's the pinup book on the inside, so you'll be able to get some really cool art pages, so hopefully you open it up. But if you want it for it to be a cool collectible, you can have that too, because we put together some amazing covers. We went with the blockbuster theme of Deadpool and Wolverine cosplay covers, so in our X23 by Flower XL is the #1 seller on there right now. If you're looking for speculation or just a really hot booty cover, well, there it is. We're also doing our jeweled editions over there for the first time as we continue to evolve to just be bringing out exciting things. That's one of them that's over there. And just launched, I think 2 days ago, is our brand new website. You can go on there and you can check out, and you don't even have to submit. So you used to have to submit a message to us saying the comic books you wanted to buy, and we would create an invoice for you. And it worked really well with our buyers because we have some kick-ass buyers to where they're like, okay, that's fine. If that's how I check out, that's how I check out. So they would say, hey, these are the books we want. But now you can actually go to a checkout place and check out. Okay, so we've got that up and running now. You can go there, check it out, and grab all the covers from the Fate Rises cover collection. They're all available. Plus, we've unvaulted 9 covers if you want to get your hands on those too. So, and the website's being updated every week. We're going to be having digital items head there, and original art heading there, prototypes heading there, you name it. So make sure you're checking back on that often.
I can tell you the prototype that's not going to be there. There's 3. There's 3 that are not going to be there.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a few you know about that aren't going to be there. So
I have the
prototypes are amazing. So
I have the Dark Magician Girl, so I have that one. I have the Hatsumiku, which is cool. And then I think I have 2 more, right?
I know you have at least 1 more. You've got a hefty one over there.
What hefty one do I have? The Yoko?
Yoko Littner is a prototype that actually is an error comic as well. So it's a pretty special one to hang on to. So because whenever it came in as the prototype, we actually had to modify it from it because it didn't come out correctly. So you have a very special, not just as a prototype. That's what happens with a prototype is we get it in, we make sure it sizes up correctly, everything looks good. And that was one of them that had to be redone. But there's that one prototype out there, and that's it. So pretty cool book.
And then I have one that's She might have it right here. I have it right here, actually. All things.
Show and tell time. Let's go.
I'm pulling it up. I'm getting it. It's pretty cool. It's a good one. It's one of these.
Ooh, now that's not a prototype.
So it's a 1-on-1 though.
That's a one-of-one Supreme Deity, meaning that you're the only one that owns that cover. There's not even a prototype that exists to that. So that's a very special comic right there. You won't ever see us with another variant of it, a prototype or anything else. You've got the only one right there.
It's cool. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's all. And we do, we don't do that often, but when we do, make sure to grab it. And you were smart. You got you one.
I should have bought more, but I didn't know. In which that it was tricky because sometimes you don't know and you just grab what you can grab, and I took a risk, to be honest, because that was the point when the Bears were playing the Eagles.
Those were selling for like $700 on eBay.
How much were they selling for?
Like $700. Yeah, because remember, there were other variants that were just one-of-ones. They were selling for $700.
It's crazy.
So we saw that. We were excited for whoever that was selling them. We were just happy to see our brand doing that well. So, but yeah.
Again, I'm too lazy. In which that again, I have no time to sell comics. Like it's wild. This card shit is off the chain. That's
good. That's good.
It's just easy to sell it. That's why.
Yeah. I think that especially as a reseller, you always have to be ready to pivot. Because you're looking for the right speculation things, and you have to be able to choose what's going to be hot then. Just like Barbie covers last year and women's NBA or WNBA this year. Next year it could be dreidels.
It's the WNBA, and then Chaz Chisholm Jr. on the Yankees is red hot right now too, and it's crazy. It's wild. And then Paul Skeens is off the chain too. Like I can't keep Paul Skeens in my store. I can't keep Chaz Chisholm in my store on a Yankee uniform. And then I buy cards so that I could sell them 3 or 4 months from now. I just bought a bunch of Jalen Brunson cards. He threw out the first pitch at a Yankee game, and I'm waiting till NBA season, but you got to buy those cards now because you only have 24 hours to buy them. So I bought 60 of them. But what I'm hoping is that you get a short print variation of it, him next to Aaron Judge. And Jalen Brunson looks small next to Aaron Judge. It's like the funniest picture. He looks like a 4-year-old. It's ridiculous. And Jalen Brunson's a big guy. And it's bad, dude. It's bad. It's like if I was standing next to LeBron James, I'm 5'11", I would look like a child. It'd be bad. Great photo. It'd be great.
Awesome. I mean, it could have its own little market value just because of the silliness.
A short print variation of that is a $400 card, which is inserted into things as a parallel for free. That's what makes those cards valuable, is that Topps throws parallels in for free on top of your regular order that was a $90 for 20 cards. So if you buy 20 cards, you get to sell that shit, but then you get a bonus card if it's thrown in there. So I just pulled a Ben Rice. He hit 3 home runs in a game, and he's the first Yankee person to do it in his first year of playing Major League Baseball.
Okay.
So that's a $550 card because it's 3 out of 5.
That's insane. 3 home runs in one game though too.
So it's a crazy feat, and then people are asking $550. There's only 5 of them in the world, and that card cost me $90. But here's the kicker: is I sold 17 of those cards for $9.75 a pop.
Okay.
So I made $40 on it, and I'm keeping that card for myself.
Keeping it though.
Oh yeah, I don't want to get rid of it. It's dope. I'm a card collector.
You sound like Ashley. because she collects a lot of our comic books. And I'm like, that's the number 1 of 10 that you're. She's like, yeah, this one's mine. You know, or she'll have a prototype in her collection. I'm like, Jesus, babe, people might want to get this. And she's like, well, I really like this cover.
Well, I'm sorry that I stole her Hatsumiku.
She did it. I got that to you before she could find out about it. Yes.
I'm glad because I like that cover a lot. Even
So
though I think
we were excited to do that one. We had that one lined up for a very long time. We just, you know, we're big fans of just the Japanese culture, and so
I should have broke down my Hatsumiku cards, and we should have ripped it open here. They came in today.
Yeah.
They came in today in Magic the Gathering Hatsumiku.
Oh yeah.
So they're doing spring, summer, fall, winter.
With her in Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
That's very cool.
So I missed spring, which sucked. I got summer.
Well, we had got the idea for that variant because Pokemon had just collabed with Hatsumiku. Like, so it's so awesome because like that Gengar hybrid that we did.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was Pokemon, Hatsumiku, and the Duchess like just melded into one, and it was really cool.
The Hatsumiku stuff on Magic the Gathering is really cool. So those boxes, so they did My Little Pony Magic the Gathering, which is cool.
Okay.
So My Little Pony set. And then so you got Applejack on a card. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. I don't even play Magic the Gathering, and I just wanted it as a collectible position because it's dope. But I bought 4 of them, right? And I sold 3 of them, and they run 40 a box, right? So what it is that the 3 are sold, and I sold them for like 85 a pop.
Nice.
So they're a bitch to get. I had to wait in line for 25 minutes online, and oh my god, it was stressful. So fucking stressful. I'm at my job. It's looking at me like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Andrew? Like,
Ashley's been trying to do that with what is it, Monster High dolls, which are apparently extremely valuable. But she's been trying to like get those whenever they release because she collects them, and she said that the same day that the sale was done, that they were already on eBay for like 4 times the price.
I've done that. I flip shit like that. I actually, so I don't even carry merch. About 30% of my merch isn't even in my possession.
Once it's here, it's shipped. You're like, oh,
it's shipped to me first, so I do quality control.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't want to drop ship. I have no desire to drop ship it because I just want to make sure it's a good product. Also, with Topps, I don't know if I'm getting parallels, right? So I'm not going to go start moving product around and then ship somebody a $700 card. And then, but I also want to make sure that it's appropriate, right? And that they come clean. So with these Hatsumiku things, they come in a box. So I don't even know what they look like. I have one for me. I'm stoked for it. It's in my collection. But a lot of this shit, you know, it comes to me first because it's just easier that way. But also, I try, if it could be avoided, like certain cards, like Mount Olympus is a good example. I don't list the Mount Olympus book until it's in my possession.
I see.
Because they're so unpredictable. And it's nothing against Ron. I've never met Ron. Ron seems like a nice guy and all, but they could get me a book in 3 weeks or in 3 months. I don't know. And so I can't list a book of theirs until it's in my possession. And it sucks.
Everyone needs to say hello to the co-creator of the Flawless Universe. The pretty face of the company, the one that should be on the screen right here.
I'm tired. We had 5 kids run around the house all day today, and finally it's quiet.
I'm slowly reeling her. There she is.
You probably know me from my emails. That's how you know me.
He's the one that got that prototype.
Hatsumiku.
I
know everything. I have the memory of an elephant.
Yeah, she does remember everything.
I'm out, baby. I just wanted to bring you that water and grab Paxton's iPad.
All right, babe.
Well, I think we promoted you enough, and I'm going to go promote myself. So obviously, I am Pop Anime Comics on the Twitter. I am Pop Anime Comics on the Instagram. I am Pop Anime Comics on Facebook. I am Pop Anime Comics on YouTube. I am Pop Anime Comics on TikTok, even though I haven't posted there in a while. I am getting back to it slowly. It's just that when you are shipping out 100 to 200 cards a week, you don't really have time for TikTok, guys. You just don't. Believe me, my tongue has licked enough envelopes for a lifetime. So no, I don't lick any envelopes. I'm joking. I bought the ones that peel off and stick themselves shut. But anyway, I'm so tired of packing up envelopes. But anyway, that's what I got going on. And then I do run an eBay business where I sell a lot of cards, a lot of collectibles, a lot of cool stuff. And you can come shop with us on eBay. So this is my eBay store. Come look for comics and collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay. Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And as always, I will show what I tend to have in my store. I tend to have cool products like this right here. So I had this in my store, and I'm sold out of that. So I'm sorry if you're looking for a Jungle Angel Reach Draft Night. Sorry. Some guy bought all 4 of them, so he beat you to the punch. I also tend to have stuff like this. Somebody bought all of those that I had. I have this one coming my way. No, it is not for sale, but I do carry merch like that. And if it does go, I'm looking at a G for it. If I ever put it up, if not more, I will have stuff like this coming in my store soon, as well as this. So those are really cool. This is a cool book because it's a bonus book. I do carry cards like this, which is awesome. So as soon as I have one of these in my store still. So this was actually a base relic used in the Rickwood game. So Rickwood is a Major League Baseball celebrating the Negro Leagues. And so they had a game at Rickwood, one of the oldest Negro League stadiums in existence. And this was a game-used base card. So I am and still have that in my store. I'm asking $170. If you make me an offer of anywhere from $150 to $165, I most likely will accept it. So if you're looking for cool cards, and then I have stuff like this in my store, which is cool. I got stuff like this in my store, which is always fun. I have stuff like this in my store. So I got a lot of cool stuff. And I've always said it before. If you're looking for something and I don't have it, ask me because I might have it. And if I don't have it, chances are I know somebody who does. And I'm more than happy to put you in contact with them because I know that people want to complete their collections. And I got a lot of friends in the industry still. And I got a lot of associates who do want to make sales. And they refer me business, and I am happy to refer them business. So that's everything that I got going on. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
Hey, so if you want to watch Andrew lick stamps over on TikTok, make sure to tune in over there. And he also knows a guy that knows a guy who's got what you need. So check with him for anything. And I'm the guy who's on the show that for the guy who's doing this right here. And it's awesome. So I was glad to be here. So thanks for having me.
Well, anytime. And that is a wrap.